Let's go over, Grant, back to you here for Told You So team of the week. Who do you got?
So not to continue this negative train I'm on, but I'm going to continue this negative train here. And that would be the offensive side for the Green Bay Packers coming into this year. I had this team nowhere near the playoffs. I didn't trust Jordan Love. I don't trust Matt LaFleur. You can clearly tell that it was the Aaron Rodgers train. You know, those two MVP years when LaFleur first took over in Green Bay. Just no offensive identity. When Aaron Jones is out there, they just don't have anything going for him. Christian Watson had three receptions the other night. Every other receiver on the team had one.
Did Dobbs even have one?
I think he had one.
Did he? Okay.
Dobbs
He had
had
a couple
one.
of drops too.
Their rookie tight end Musgrave, right, from Oregon State. He led the team with 6 receptions, but I think he was only for like 35 yards. I saw.
Yeah, they're just not explosive.
They're not explosive. They don't have an identity on offense. You can tell they're running plays. There's no ebb and flow to it, and they couldn't even get the running game going. With no Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, 3 yards a carry, with a long of 11, and against that porous defense in Las Vegas, it's not going to get the job done. And unfortunately, with the good defense the Packers have, with this offensive inept that they have, eventually it's going to break your team, and the Packers' season's not going to go over too well for them. So I don't see it with Jordan Love, and it's not fair. He's had 6 starts in his career, but he doesn't have the weapons outside to help him succeed. We can talk all you want about Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Well, they got some dogs next to them. They got coaches that can put them in a good spot, and players who help bail you out. I just don't see that in Green Bay. Like my buddy Derek says, fire LaFleur, fire Joe Barry, and get Jordan Love out of there. I don't see it with this Packers team.
Who does Derek want as the new head coach of the Packers?
If it would be in a perfect world, he would take Bill Belichick.
Go for it, please.
Yes.
I'm going with the Jaguars. I said before the year they're going to win the division. They were going to run away with it. I feel like this is the first game where they showed who they can be. Right after the Bills absolutely decimate the Dolphins. Was it last week, right? They come back and they knock them off in London. Second straight game there, so they didn't have to travel this week. But even then, Trevor Lawrence looked like the guy. He made some insane throws that really won him that game. Etienne broke one open late, and Calvin Ridley looked like the wide receiver one that they traded for. Their defense made the plays that they needed to. I don't think Josh Allen really was terrible. He didn't make any outrageous plays that you usually see from him. But they just straight up won that game, and it honestly was not nearly as close as the score showed it was.
Well, no, they had a couple of turnovers in the red zone, but like you said, Ethan, that was one of the biggest, the things that was puzzling to me was going into the year was, why, this is a good receiving core that the Jags have. Trevor Lawrence is a tremendous quarterback, but why there were some drops. They just couldn't get separation. They weren't on the same page. And this week is it was the first week that they finally looked all in sync together, all on that same page, and it showed.
Hey, maybe being out of the country for 2 weeks was something this team needed.
Maybe they're back home,
They're back home, exactly. And in today's world in the NFL, where you don't do the training camp at campuses anymore, and everyone goes home and you can see your family every single night. Again, I get that, but who knows? Maybe the Jags just needed 2 weeks of just football, to kind of get their mind right and get ready to play. And hey, Chris Jones has proven me wrong. Maybe you don't need to go to St. Joe's, Missouri, and you can work out in Miami. But maybe the Jags needed this. Maybe they just need a little team bonding. Hey, let's be on the road for 2 weeks. This is all we have together, and maybe they'll go on a nice run when they come back.
We're gonna find out here. But my told you so team of the week is, and it's not a team. It's a head coach. It's Frank Reich. Going into the year, and before we did this, I had it all in my head that I was going to go go with the Panthers. They were going to win the division. I thought Bryce Young is a star. I thought he was going to in a weak division. I thought he was for sure going to be the guy and take a hold of that division from his rookie year. But then watching the Panthers in preseason and seeing these first 5 games, Frank Reich has proven why he was fired and should have been fired. The O-line is terrible. Their receivers can't get open. Bryce Young's just getting the hell beat out of him.
Hey, Adam
And
Thielen's hella good year.
Adam Thielen's having a good year.
He's coming along these last 2.5
Wide
weeks.
receiver number 8 in fantasy right now. So,
but it's going to come down to the coach, and I just cannot trust Frank Reich at all because there's just nothing about him that excites me about him developing a young quarterback. You'd see guys just fall off, especially those last couple of years. And Royce Lewis just struck out, and
you can't hit a curveball to save our lives. We look like we're swinging at fucking air.
and they should have stuck with the they should have hired they look worse than what they did last year under Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
And now he's coaching the best defense in football.
Yeah.